Welcome to Recovery Rockstars Uncut, uniting the recovery community with raw and real stories. Your host, Kevin Z, puts the light on people and brands that are rocking the recovery lifestyle. So you want to be a rock superstar? RecoveryRockstars.com. Now, here's Kevin.
Welcome to Recovery Rockstars Uncut, Episode 3. I am super stoked once again for today. I actually have a very special guest and a dear friend, Jackie, with me. Jackie, what's up?
What's up, Kevin? Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thrilled that you are here. So I have to sit at the table with you real quick for everybody. You and I have been working together, for about 5 years now?
Yep, coming up 5 years.
You guys, and I've actually been blessed because I've personally seen Jackie's sober evolution, and you've become quite the inspiration to me.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you to that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's dive right into this. Take me back to when Jackie was a kid. How did your addiction start? What was your drug of choice? And actually, first answer this. How long have you been sober?
A little over 3 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But to answer your question, I think for me, it kind of started at a younger age. And at the time, I didn't realize what was beginning to happen, but we moved around a lot after elementary school, and that caused me to always want to be fitting in, right? I had a problem fitting in school. I had no friends. We were at a new school 4 different times from 5th grade to 8th grade.
Wow.
So that was kind of what started the instability, I guess, in my head. And then in high school, my sophomore year, I was trying to get in with like the preppy crowd, and preppies were all skinny in cheerleader uniforms, and I tried out for cheerleading, made the team, barely, but I didn't fit in the uniform. So that summer, that's when all the addiction and the eating disorder kind of started. That's what started addiction for me. And I became bulimic.
So let's take a step back. So
Yeah.
Sophomore year, where were you going? What state? What city?
Amador County.
And where is Amador County? I don't even know.
Northern California. So it's outside of Sacramento. It's like an hour east of Sacramento.
Okay. So preppies were the in crowd, huh?
No, I mean, I was like, I don't know, the cool kids. You're a teenager. You think, oh, the preppies are the cool kids, because the only other crowd that was there at the school were the Hicks, the country folk, the ones that hung out with the steers and the horses and the lambs and the hogs and the FFA programs. And I eventually found those folks, but that was years later,
right,
after I went through a couple more challenges.
So I can completely understand that. So when you were growing up in elementary, you moved around, you finally had a home base, so to speak, and you needed a little stability.
Yep.
And you wanted to be a part of the cheerleading team, and you just essentially wanted to, quote unquote, fit in.
Yes, wanted to fit in. But part of fitting into that crowd was being super thin. And I wasn't the thinnest kid. I wasn't like fat and overweight, but I wasn't the thinnest. I had like some chub on me. And I just remember like making the team and that feeling of, wow, I can be a cool kid and I can be this cheerleader and everyone will look up to me, but I can't fit in the uniform. So what can I do to immediately drop weight? And that was, I don't remember researching anything. I just remember like thinking, oh, I can throw up my food. And that's what started it. And
so you didn't know anything that bulimia was a real thing?
No.
It was just in your mindset.
It was in my mindset.
I was going to eat, and after I ate, I was going to throw it up, and I wouldn't gain weight.
Yep. Yeah.
Did you know anybody else at the school who was doing that too?
Nope. It didn't run in my family. I didn't have anyone in my family that was like super skinny or super fat. Like, we came from a pretty normal, household weight-wise. And no, I didn't know anyone else that suffered with, weight or eating disorders. It was just something that as a young teenager, I was like, oh, I'm going to try that. And you know what? I came back from summer break and I had everyone. I remember walking down the hallways in school, people going, wow, you look amazing. Like, how'd you lose all that weight? And I felt like $1 million, dude.
Okay, so that was a short-term fix to your ego.
Yep.
But do you remember how you felt and how living that lifestyle, how'd you feel every day? I mean, it's great to have the compliments.
Yeah.
But your energy, your mindset.
At first, I feel like it was motivating. It was like, wow, I have the power to change something in my life. And then later, it became so much of a habit to have to go and hide right after you eat. Like you eat and you immediately have to go and throw it up before your food starts to, it's kind of graphic, sorry, but before your food starts to digest, you have to go throw it up really fast.
So you would throw up in the morning after breakfast.
Yeah, every time
school,
you eat. Yep.
At school, lunch, and then at home.
Yeah, it was nasty. It was really nasty. And that's how I began to feel like right after getting back to school and like having to do that at school, trying to hide it, it just became disgusting and it felt gross and I felt like I was hiding this thing and I didn't want to hide it anymore. So I asked for my mom for help. I told my mom that I was bulimic and she drugged me to counseling and I was angry that she took me to counseling, but deep down I was happy that I could get over that.
Did you tell, and I'm so glad you told your mom and she took you to get help, but when you were going through it, did any of your friends know or any of the other cheerleaders? So it's something that you were hiding every single day.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And how long did the bulimia last?
Gosh, a year and a half.
Wow.
And that includes the 9 months of counseling. So like once I told my mom and she started taking me to counseling, it was 9 months of counseling. They hypnotized me twice. And I didn't believe in hypnotism or any of that stuff, but it worked. Because 9 months later, I felt like I was pretty cured, and I learned how to... 9 months
later, though. Yeah. So you're going through counseling for 9 months, but were you still throwing up throughout the process?
Yeah, it was a whole process. It was like, instead of going in the bathroom and throwing up, I don't know how graphic you want me to get, it was leave the bathroom door open. Small steps like that, where you had to kind of break those old behaviors. It was hard. It was really hard.
Yeah.
But eventually, I got there.
Good.
But then we kind of got into some new challenges.
And what are these new challenges?
With alcohol. This was kind of my second attempt at being cool after losing all the weight. I remember finally getting invited to a party.
Is this still high school?
This is still high school.
Okay.
This is my the end of sophomore year, junior year. Getting invited to this party with all the cool kids, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my chance to fit in with them. It's so stupid how teenagers think, really. But
I think all of us experienced it when we were teenagers. I know I did too.
Yeah, but it's crazy because I had not drank any alcohol. But what I did, my dad had this really cool bar at our house that we grew up in. So I went into the bar at like 3 a.m. while everyone was sleeping, got a big ol' empty plastic water bottle, and filled it. I opened every single bottle of liquor in my dad's bar and filled it. A little bit of vodka, a little bit of tequila, a little bit of gold schnapp, like a little bit of whiskey, a little bit of everything until this whole
all in
water
one bottle?
Oh, yeah. And again, like I know now we're kind of like, oh, makes your stomach want to turn thinking about it. But I was young and had no education about alcohol, had never drank alcohol. I just wanted to be the cool kid to bring liquor to this party.
So this was, you say it was 3 a.m. when you went home and did this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, packed up my bag the next night. It was like Friday night. Put the bottle in my bag, went up to the party, and I almost died.
Wow.
I almost died. I blacked out for 2 days. I'm lucky I didn't die.
Wow.
I mean, I just remember lining up the shot glasses, filling it full of all that concoction that I made.
So you were trying to be the life of the party. Essentially, you had the bottle. You were telling everybody to come on over.
Yep.
Cool Jackie is going to give you guys drinks. This is going to be great. Again, feeding the ego, and it turned out to be one of the worst decisions that you've ever made.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was right before my 16th birthday. My parents punished me. They should have done a lot more to me, but I don't know why they didn't. My punishment for that whole fiasco was, instead of getting my license on my 16th birthday, I had to wait a month after my 16th birthday to get my license. You would have thought maybe that would have been an eye-opener, but it definitely wasn't. I did slow down drinking from like 16 to 18, but once I was 18, man, out of the house, doing my own thing, it was right back to partying, and it was bad when I was 18.
So where did you go when you left the house? So we had that experience at 16. Your license got delayed a month. You were good, but you were still kind of drinking, but controlling your drinking.
Yeah.
18 hits. Did you go to college? Did you move away?
18 hits. I moved an hour away. I moved to Sacramento. I went to Sacramento State, got my own apartment with a friend from high school, and we just went ballistic I don't know how we got all this alcohol in our house at the age of 18 and how we had all these parties with people there, but I had so many people coming in and out of my house all the time, 5, 6, 7 days a week, people smoking weed up in there, just getting drunk in there, bringing other people. How do you function? How are we still alive today if we have those kind of people in our lives, right? But the crazy thing is on top of all those randoms coming in and out of your house, an 18-year-old, thank God I was never raped.
Yeah.
Thank God I was never robbed. But on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, we would go out to the clubs.
Yeah.
We would go out to the clubs and meet randoms and bring more randoms back in. And
did you have a steady boyfriend back in those times, or was it just
there
you
were
and
no
your girlfriends
boyfriends.
were going out having a good time all the time?
Yep. And finally nipped me in my butt. I would say 6 months into that, right after I moved out, 6 months of that crap, I got arrested for a DUI. And it actually wasn't driving under the influence. It was some undercover cop saw us leaving the club, going to get into a car, and I wasn't driving, like I said. I just got into the car, and they still were able to charge me with the DUI.
And you're the one that got behind the wheel.
Yeah, but I didn't drive.
Right.
Whatever, I say that like, hey, it wasn't as bad.
The intention was there. They know that you were getting in your car to go home or drive somewhere else. Spending
the night in jail, that was the most terrible night of my life. It was disgusting.
And are you still 18 at this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've never sat in a jail cell overnight, I will just say to you, please do everything you can to stay out of jail. It's terrible. I mean, it's dirty. There's weirdos sitting all around you, and it just seems like time is dragging. It's the scariest. It's terrible. It's scary. It's dirty. It's ugh.
So how did you feel at that moment? I mean, you know that you had to make the call to your parents, that they were going to find out, your mom, your dad.
Super disappointed.
Yeah.
Super disappointed in myself. Like, what are you doing, Jackie? You got to get your life together. How did you end up here? You had so much potential. Like, oh, why'd you have to go throw it all away? You know, when I get out of here, I'm going to turn my life around. All that was going through my head. And to that point, I did kind of turn things around for a couple years. Once I got out, lost my license, so that was super hard. You know, that next year, getting around.
Hold on real quick. Before that, though, when you got out of jail, did you stop drinking for a year?
Yep.
Period. You just stopped.
No, I wouldn't say it was entirely. It was just not often at all.
Right.
And it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go out and get drunk. It was maybe have a beer or two at a barbecue. I stopped having people over. I stopped going to the clubs.
So the experience in jail was enough to make an impression on you where you slowed down dramatically.
Dude, that was the walk of shame.
Yeah.
Like, we had a family business in Sacramento. People knew my parents. Like, I had ambitions. I was very involved in the local TV station. In my high school town, I was still doing work for them. Like, that was the total walk of shame. It was terrible. It was definitely a wake-up call.
Do you want to say sorry to your mom real quick?
Mom and Dad, I'm so sorry that I put you through that. My gosh. You know what's embarrassing? You actually just brought to my attention. I know that I had ran for a local scholarship in Amador County right after all this had happened. And I know I was disqualified.
Because of this?
Yeah. Sorry. So it's like it's like what we do in life. I mean, it will follow you. But you can keep going. You can start in new directions, or you can keep going in circles, which isn't what I did for another 10 years until we are here today. So,
so take me back. You went to prison, or jail rather.
Yeah.
And you said you cleaned up your life for a couple of years.
Cleaned up life.
You're feeling good, back on track.
Yep, kind of dry, really, not drinking much. Met someone before I moved up to Washington State to finish my last 2 years of college. So at that time, it was a long-distance engagement. And when I graduated in 2007, the goal was move back to California with him and get married later that year. But things went a little different. When I graduated, I actually had 2 job offers to be a reporter. And